Grab a beverage, get cozy, get some snacks because we're gonna talk about it. It's time to talk about it. I'm fed up. I'm drinking rosé. No, I'm not drinking. What? Why did I say rosé? Why did I actually say rosé? I'm not drinking rosé. I'm drinking Echo Foods. That's the job. I put a bit of ice in it, dilute it a little bit because I'm not trying to get too tipsy. Who lied to me? There's Ani. My name is Efe. Welcome to the channel. There's Aunt Nee. Now I'm a little drinker. But that's besides the point. Fuck you. Fuck homophobia. Imagine having to assess the surroundings you're in before you decide to hold your girlfriend's hand. I don't want to cater to ignorance. Became apparent. So you have to adapt your behavior appropriately. Because as much as I want to normalize it, I have to think about people are mad. People are...
Oi, yeah. See anyone on the live stream like Kanye came with a light beam. I got the buzz like I'm light.
Okay, let's talk about it. Let's get a bit serious now. Imagine having to assess the surroundings you're in before you decide to hold your girlfriend's hand. Imagine questioning whether you should tell your girlfriend I love you in public. Imagine having to assess whether you can hug, kiss your girlfriend on the cheek in public, stand close to them, just show them obvious affection, touch them a little bit. Imagine having to think about that everywhere you go, every environment you're in, because you're aware of the violence that same-sex couples experience. You're aware that people and this culture and this world is so against majority of the people. Some people are against same-sex relationships. You can't just happily be. I'm gonna talk about my experiences. I'm just gonna rant a little bit basically. I'm just gonna go off, talk about other people's experiences. There'll be time stops in the comments section if you want to skip to certain bits because I value you, I value your time. But if you want to stay around for the whole thing, I like that. I like that and I like you. I have written notes because I'm a waffler, if you don't know. Let's first talk about how this topic came about. So let me just say, ever since I became very comfortable with my sexuality, I told myself that I'll never shy away from being openly me, being openly a lesbian. Like if someone were to ask me a question about my celebrity crush, for example, I wouldn't shy away by saying, yeah, it's a girl. I don't like the idea of prefacing, oh, but I'm a lesbian. I kind of just live unapologetically. So I promised myself when I became comfortable with my sexuality that that's how I'm gonna run and that's how I'm going to approach certain situations because it's not as normalized as we want it to be. Anyway, let me keep on going. It's another topic. So yeah, ever since I became comfortable, I told myself that even in gatherings, like if I'm talking to my friends and we're just bantering and people just talking about their experiences with guys or whatever, that I will also be comfortable enough to talk about my experiences with girls and not feel like left out of the conversation or feel embarrassed or shamed to talk about my experiences. So just basically living unapologetically, just being confident, just owning who I like and all that jazz. In that same time, I also vowed to myself that if I were to ever get a girlfriend, that I would openly be affectionate with her in public. I'm gonna do what the straight people do basically and not feel ashamed about it. I don't care if people are looking. That was my mind state. That was my frame of thinking. That's how I was thinking. I still do. However, as my naivete became apparent due to seeing things on the internet and due to seeing reports and acts of violence against same-sex couples, I had to take a step back and I had to kind of think logically and think as much as I'm proud of who I am and not ashamed of who I love, I have to think about my safety and the person I'm with's safety when I'm out. And it irritated me a lot and it still does and I still try and not let it bother me. But when you're in a restaurant and you're holding your girlfriend's hand across the table and you're just talking and showing each other affection and laughing and you get the stares, sometimes you get nods of approval, I don't mind that. You know, common gays got to stick together. But other times you get the adults, the aunties, the uncles, the older generation looking at you, or you get the young kids kind of staring at you, especially like roadmen. Like, yeah, that's what I've noticed a lot. Like young boys, they get very excited when they see same-sex couples. I'm kind of speaking about same-sex as a whole. I obviously put the title as lesbian couple in public because that's my experience, but I'm very highly aware, as you all probably are, that every same-sex couple gets it. So yeah, but yes, as much as my attitude before was fuck you, fuck homophobia, I don't give a fuck about how you feel if I make you uncomfortable because there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. As much as I exude that energy on a day-to-day basis and then have to think about my safety and my girlfriend's safety and whoever I'm with safety, you know what I mean? It's not worth, don't know, it's not worth my safety. I don't want to cater to ignorance. I don't want to cater to homophobia. I hate the idea of doing that. But I have to think about myself, and I'm in two minds about it. So sometimes I'm like, sometimes the FA me is like, fuck it, like I don't care, like I'm just gonna do it. Like, people have to get comfortable. By me doing this, it helps people kind of see it as normal, if you know what I mean. By exposing people to it, maybe it changes their mind or they become accustomed to it. That was my thinking. I'm still very mixed about how I feel about it. I can't lie, I still, because it's in me, like if you know my energy, you know I hate ignorance. I'm sure everyone does, but homophobia to be very specific, obviously, just irks me because I need to breathe. How does who I choose to love and whose hand I choose to hold and who I sleep with affect you in any aspect of your life? How does it affect you negatively in any aspect of your life? Think logically. There's actually no logic to it. Okay. Look, I had to cool off before I go mad. Let me put some lipstick on. Massive lipstick. Let me put some Carmex on. Soothe the mind a little bit. But yeah, okay, so basically homophobia doesn't make any sense. And if you're smart, you understand that. Let me keep on, breathe, effort in and out. So let me talk about my experiences more in depth so you can kind of get an idea of my day-to-day. So I've written down 2 scenarios that have stuck out to me. The most sort of recent one was we were in a park, picnic, chilling, just, chilling. She was laying on my lap and we noticed stairs, and sometimes we think that maybe we're just being paranoid, but we looked. So we kind of like looked and we saw like a group of boys staring, and my first thought was to be defensive and just like ignore them, but then my second thought was like, okay, what if they were to do something to provoke us? Because like a group of boys, they're gassed, everyone's gassing each other, they might come up to us and just confront us for no good reason, you know what I mean? So that was my second thought. They didn't do anything. Most of the time people don't do anything. The most we've ever had, anyway, I'll talk about it in a second, but yeah, most of the time people don't do anything. Very uncomfortable to be stared at so intensely. Another scenario was when we were on the bus. There was a guy and he just stood right like in front of us. There was other places he could have been, but he decided to be very close to us and he was just eyeing us, and I tried to ignore it and just keep on, I did ignore it and keep on the conversation, but we kind of both knew that this is just an odd scenario. Like, why is this guy so close and staring? Another time was we'll be in the club, guy comes up to us, just like, are you guys lesbians? Like, are you guys together? They go for a bit, but then you always get stared at, you get uncomfortable stares, people looking at you. You just basically can't be at peace. You can't be at peace. It's just basically the same encounters happening day in and day out if I'm together with her in public. And I'm sure other same-sex couples have experienced. And on that topic, I'm going to read out other people's experiences, same-sex couples' experiences, and how they feel about basically being affectionate in public or showing any signs of PDA. I'll leave it in the description below if you want to read the article as well. But it's kind of nice to know that it's not just you know what I mean? You're not the only one that holds the same frustrations. And I don't feel guilty for thinking about my safety, because as much as I want to normalize it, I have to think about people are mad. People are actually mad in this life. So I have to think logically and realistically, basically, about the situation and environment I'm in before I decide to do anything. So the title of the article is Gay and Lesbian Couples Explain Why They Don't Hold Hands in Public. We do hold hands, but it's dependent on feeling safe. For instance, we don't hold hands in my hometown. Danny's experiences of growing up in a rural town where he was attacked twice growing up for being gay contribute to this unease. You can say times change, but they don't change at the same pace in all places, so you have to adapt your behaviour appropriately. This is very, very, very true. I kind of briefly heard it on a video. Some places in Europe are very, chill with it. Like, it's just normal. They don't really bat an eye if they see a same-sex couple. Like in London, it's a little bit easier, mainly young people. But if you were to go to a very older demographic, dense place, then it's a whole different environment. And yeah, so you basically have to adapt. Yeah, it's making a lot of sense. Two rugby lads walked behind us saying "Batty man" when we were in a supermarket buying food. Every straight person we told about it seemed very shocked, but LGBT plus people definitely weren't. Being a same-sex couple in public is basically just full of stares, comments, and It ain't nice. It ain't nice. I don't want to ramble on too much and keep on saying the same thing, but you kind of get the gist. You kind of get where I'm coming from. I'm just going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Subscribe if you wanna. I ain't trying to force you, but I am. But she is though. Anyway, why am I speaking like this? I'm really English. I'm from the UK. Stay safe and all that jazz. Yeah, live unapologetically and fuck these homophobes. Alrighty. Catch you on the flip side. Did I even say I catch you on the flip? What's wrong with me? It's actually the liquor. It's the liquor.